Hi, this is Charlotte from Yarns About Yarn, and I want to show you how to do the tight join as you go, which is a technique that I used on my Bunny Buns baby blanket. These bunny motifs are part of a granny square, which the first granny square is made, and each of the subsequent granny squares are joined on the last round to the previous finished granny square. And for this particular blanket, for crib size, it requires 10 of these granny squares to be joined together. I've also used this join as you go technique to join some rows, and you can see that this row here is the row I've joined the white row to the black row using the join as you go technique. So it really gives a nice join. It looks a little different than if you're doing your stitch work, in this case the extended single crochet. The edging does look a little bit different, but it still joins it very nicely, and you can see on both sides it's flat and not a raised edge. So it's another area that you can use this join as you go technique. Now to get started, you need to complete one granny square. So this has been a motif, a bunny motif, and it has 3 rows of stitching using the extended single crochet stitch around the bunny motif, and this granny square is completed. Now I'm wanting to start joining my subsequent squares. So square number 2 is the square that I'd like to join. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them beside each other first of all, and I'm going to mark where I want to join the granny squares with a marker. So square number 1 is going to be joined into the chain 2 space, the corner, and on square number 2 it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be joined in the chain 2 space. So I'm going to put a marker in those 2 spaces, and I'm actually working for this project, I'm actually working on the back side of the motif. So I'm going to turn them over, and on the working granny square, I've started this square. I've got my row started down here. I've completed one edge up along here. I'm going to complete this edge, and then I'm going to join here, and then I'm going to finish off the bottom row. So to show you, I've come up to the corner here, and I've stopped so that I can show you how you actually get this started with the join as you go. So I've got one more stitch to complete here with my extended single crochet, and the extended single crochet is done by yarn over and pulling up a loop, and yarn over and going through one loop like a chain, which makes the extension, and then yarn over and going through 2 loops to complete your single crochet portion of the stitch. Now I'm going to go work into the corner. In this particular corner, I've been doing the corner consists of a extended single crochet, 2 chains. So I'm going to do the first of the extended single crochets. So yarn over, or pull up a loop, yarn over through 1 loop, yarn over for 2 loops, and I'm going to do the 2 chains. I'm going to drop that loop off of my hook, and I'm going to take my completed granny square. I'm going to go into the chain space where I want to join from the top to the bottom, and I want to put that loop back onto my hook, and I'm going to pull it through that chain space. So you can see that. I'm making sure that my working yarn is to the front of my work. And now I'm going to complete the other extended single crochet into the working granny square. So put my hook into that space, the chain 2 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, and complete my extended single crochet. Okay, I'm going to take these markers out. We don't need those anymore. And you can see now that I've got my first stitch made that joins the two squares together. Now we're going to work down the sides to join it. We're going to start by dropping our loop off our hook. We're going to, on the completed square, we're going to miss a stitch and we're going to go into the next stitch and we're going to pull our loop through that stitch. We're going to come back onto our working square from the top to the bottom, insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over through one loop, yarn over through two loops to complete the stitch, drop the loop off the hook, go into the next stitch on the completed square, pull the loop up, adjust your tension if you need to, back to the working square, insert your hook from the top to the bottom, yarn over, pull up a loop, complete your stitch, drop your loop off the hook again, back into the completed square, pull up the loop, back to my working square, and complete the stitches. So basically you're just working from the working square over to the completed square, dropping your loop, picking it up in the next stitch, and working on the working square to complete your stitch. It's a little bit hard to see on the black, and I know that, but that happens to be the color that I'm using for the Bunny Buns baby blanket. And we want to continue working along here because I want to show you how to join the corners. Just a couple more stitches to complete. So I'm in the last stitch on my working side, still doing the same thing, pulling it up, going into the last stitch on the completed side. So now I'm going to, so I've got my last stitch, I have my working chain 2 space and the chain 2 space from my completed square to join. So I'm going to now go into the chain 2 space, complete my extended single crochet, drop the loop, pull up the loop through the chain 2 space on the completed granny square, chain 2, and go back into the chain 2 space on my working granny square and do my next extended single crochet. So the two sides are now joined, and I just have to complete this edge of the second granny square. So you're going to do exactly the same thing. Oh, sorry, I did a yarn over, which I shouldn't have done. So let's get this stitch correct here. And when I get to the end of the row, I just slip stitch to join. There's the two granny squares joined together. So you can see on the back side, it's a very nice join. There's no ridge or bumps. And on the right side, on the front side, it's the same thing. It's nicely joined together, no ridge or no bump. If you've enjoyed this tutorial for the Join As You Go technique, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, peace and blue skies.